Nixon.
Okay, we're going. All set, Dennis.
Great. Well, welcome. This is our first historical commission meeting in a couple of months. We were scheduled, I think, March 14th, and COVID hit, and we haven't been able to get anything done since time. I appreciate everyone's participation. I think this is an exciting new start. Regrettably, Marsha Crooks has resigned. She had some health issues, and Marsha obviously contributed a lot over the years, and we're going to miss her. She is I know she's been keeping in touch with Margaret, and she's had some failing health, and we wish her the very best, and hopefully we'll be able to maybe connect with her sometime down the road. We wish her the very best. I know I'm drafting a letter, I have drafted a letter for the chairman of the Board of Selectmen to send to her, thanking her for her years of contribution to the Historical Commission and to the community. And I know Bernadette had mentioned she wants to do the same from the Historical Commission, so I think that would be nice. Just as a formality, I'll let you know the members. Franco, who's with us. Carlton Patrick is an associate member. Right. So Carlton would not be one of the 7. It's a 7-member committee. So Franco, Priscilla Compton, who's not here this evening, Bob Donahue, who I know is on speakerphone with Rick Marcoux, Steve Jonas, who's with us, Rick Marcoux, who's with us, Bernadette, who's with us, and Margaret Maxwell, who's served on the committee for quite some time and is interested. She had resigned, and Margaret, correct me if I'm wrong, but you'd like to petition the selectmen to come back on board. Oh, you're thinking about it.
I have been thinking about that, but I didn't remember that I had mentioned it to you.
So we have 6 members now. There is 1 vacancy. And if Margaret decides she'd like to come on, that would be great. If not, we'll be searching for another member. But the historical building, unfortunately, it's been sitting idle for quite some time. We've got an electrical problem over there. Half the building doesn't have electricity, which is why the alarm wasn't working, Margaret. So that was the problem with that. But we're going to be doing some upgrades in the building this summer. I've talked to Margaret about it. We're going to get our town carpenter in there and give it a good paint job and new carpeting and give it a real fresh look. And obviously before that starts, your commission will be taking charge and leading that effort. So but the first issue tonight is to nominate a chairman. This is the reorganization meeting. Annually, you'll have a reorganization meeting, which is typically after the town election. But this year, our town election has been pushed back. So the first item on the agenda would be if there is a nomination to appoint a chairman to the commission. So I'll open it up for nominations.
I nominate Rick Marcoux, Bernadette. Actually, just so you guys know, I'm actually taking notes on this, so we'll have, just so we know what's transpired.
So a nomination for Rick, is there a second to that nomination?
I'll second it.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the nomination. Who is it?
They nominated me, Rick Marcoux, for chairman.
Yep. And Franco seconded it. Are there any other nominations for chairman? Okay. All those in favor of Rick Marcoux serving as chairman, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. That's
Aye from Bob too.
Okay.
I'll now take nominations for vice chairman. Is there anyone that would like to be vice chairman, or is there a nomination? Anyone that would like to nominate anyone?
I'd like to nominate, if he's interested, Steve Joannis.
Steve, would you accept the nomination as vice chairman?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second. Any other nominations for vice chairman? I don't hear any. So all those in favor of Steve being the vice chairman, signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, looks like that's
Aye
unanimous.
from Bob too.
Great.
Okay.
And finally, the final one is secretary, which is always the most difficult job, actually. Somebody to take minutes and present those minutes at each of the meetings, and I know it's a lot of work. Are there any nominations for secretary?
I'd like to nominate Bernadette.
Okay. Bernadette, would you be willing to accept that nomination?
Yes.
All right. So we have a nomination for secretary. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Steve seconded. So we got a motion and a second. Are there any other nominations for secretary? No, hearing none. All those in favor of Bernadette? Thank you, Bernadette, serving
Welcome.
as secretary.
Aye.
Favor?
Aye.
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 Great.
Aye.
All right. Excellent. So you're officially organized, and I'm going to turn it over to your chairman, Rick. I'll be here as a resource, but Rick, it's your meeting.
Okay. I just want to thank everybody. It's going to be a learning curve for me, and there's a wealth of knowledge that's out there, and I am not the type of person that's going to sit back and just try to take charge. I feel that we're all in charge. We all have talents, and I want to tap everybody. And I'd like to see the commission go get a shot of adrenaline, more or less, and get a little bit more active. I go back to the days with Ernie Taft, where he used to bug me about getting on, but I was too busy with the fire department and with doing electrical and stuff like that I didn't have the time. But as I tell Bernadette, and I've told Dennis, now I'm retired, I got nothing to do and all day to do it. And so I really would like to put a lot of time into it and get everybody's input and get everybody involved. And I don't really know where we go from here, because I haven't been inside the building in probably over a year when I went in there to see Marcia. But it's going to be great to be able to get in there someday, so we can really start digging through the archives and maybe having Margaret, she wants to come down and give us a hand, going through and finding where stuff is.
You're there anytime.
Awesome. And I know that Dennis had brought up that we have associate Colin Patrick is an associate member. I said maybe if it's within the town's charter or agreeable to the town, that we can have other members that want to be associates that aren't going to be interested in being on the commission, but be interested to be involved with the historical commission. Like you say, not so much on a voting end of it, but to help the commission, move forward, and also help us find out where all the information is. So now, I don't know, I was going to ask, one of the things I wanted to ask Dennis, I sent him a thing earlier today about is, does the town have any idea when we'll be able to access the museum?
You can access it now. I mean, we can make arrangements. I know Margaret's been in a couple of times, but you wouldn't want to be, you'd want to wear PPE when you go in there, because you'll be in close contact and with each other. But you could arrange to do that, at any time. I'd say if it's going to be more than 2 or 3 of you, you'd want to make sure, again, that you're wearing masks and, social distance and that sort of thing. But we could definitely arrange that if you wanted to do it in smaller groups, however you want to do it, Rick. But we can arrange for you to get in there at any time and get that started.
Who would we contact?
Me.
Okay.
Yeah, you could contact me, and I'll certainly make arrangements, and I'll be, Bernadette obviously works full time for the town, so I can make arrangements with her if I'm not available to get keys and that sort of thing. So we can get your group acclimated and ready to take an active role in the building. There's an awful lot there and a lot to see, and Margaret can give you the initial tour, I'm sure. And Margaret, I got to think there are other volunteers. God bless Mary Gregoire, who was a tremendous help there, and unfortunately she was killed in March, and we certainly miss her. She was a huge help at the historical museum. But Margaret has been there a while and was really at Marcia's side for the last, I don't know how many years. So she's got a wealth of knowledge as far as the museum goes as well. But we can certainly make arrangements for you to get in there whenever you're ready, Rick.
Okay, that's good.
Can I jump in here for a minute?
Sure.
There are keys around. Who has keys among us, if any? And who has other keys getting people into that building? Because I know that's been a point of contention.
I know Marcia had one. I don't know
I'm
if
sorry?
anybody,
Marcia.
Franco's
I have
saying
one,
Marcia had one, but,
and I have one.
and Margaret's got
Only
one.
2 keys.
and they're the only two, as far as I know, that had keys, so.
That's true, but Dennis has one at the office too, I believe.
Yeah, so there'd be one at the town hall, Marcia had one, and Margaret has one. So it's very limited as far as the key
Yeah.
distribution goes.
Fine. That's good.
I know
And
that-
we had been talking for a while to get the locks changed, but I don't know where we are with that, but. Or
That was done.
any-
The locks had been changed.
There is a security system though? Is there
Yeah,
There is,
yeah,
okay.
there's a keypad,
Keypad,
just
okay.
off the door.
okay. So that's another layer of security too, if there happen to be other keys somewhere, if someone, if the alarm is set. Yeah, okay.
So we'll just touch base with Dennis, and he can
Yeah.
give us that information, and eventually we can get the keys done. So, because I know some of us will be going down there at different times.
Right.
Rick, I have a key. I'd be happy to turn over to you anytime.
Okay, I
Are
can,
you you're talking to Rick? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There you go. I thought you said Bob. But I'm sitting in the sideline out here.
yeah,
Well,
doing good, Bob.
we have one as the chairperson.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
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 Absolutely, you should have one, yeah.
So we could, can do that. Now, Dennis, maybe you can also enlighten us on the senior work-off program. That's I know is right now is stalled, but have they talked about bringing that back at all?
Yeah, once it's safe to do so, we have had seniors working at the historical museum. Typically, we have, and Margaret could tell you more about that as far as the numbers. Mary was one, and Margaret, I'm not sure how many others were working.
It was
There.
Pauline. I don't remember Pauline's last name.
I don't remember either off the top of my head.
Pauline Gardini?
Yes, Pauline
Yeah.
Gardini, and it was Mary, but
Yeah.
Mary, of course, is gone. And Pauline does not want to do it anymore.
No.
So we have no one at the present time assigned to us.
So
So
it might be a good idea to start what we want those people to do, and we could work out what we want that to be, and then we have something to propose when we're looking for new ones.
Yeah.
So I'm new to the commission and new to that program that you just mentioned. So what were people doing? What had been done?
So there's an opportunity for seniors to participate in different organizations throughout town, volunteering time, and they get a tax credit for that of $1,000. It's 100 hours that they contribute, and Margaret could tell you better exactly what work they were doing at the Historical Museum. Margaret, can you touch on what Mary and Pauline were doing?
Yes, certainly. Actually, it was on a week-to-week basis. They were not working on a long-term project at all. It was whatever Marcia needed to have done at the time. Most of it was organizing and cleaning up. They did do a lot of custodial work with keeping the shelves clear and dust-free and things like that. The last time that I was there with Mary, we had found a big box of newspapers downstairs. And so we were looking through those newspapers to see if there was anything that mentioned Bellingham and cutting that out and getting rid of the newspaper. Well, we only, got a short way through that pile that we had before tragedy struck, but that was a long-term project that really needs to be taken care of right now.
Margaret, can you touch on some of the things that you've been working on? As far, I think there's some cataloging and some information that you've been working on.
Yeah, we have 2 large file cabinets in the main reading room. So I went through all of those and organized them and got rid of duplicates and things like that.
I have a question. Is there a computer in the commission, in the office?
It's a laptop.
There is a laptop. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the bottom desk drawer with its charger. So
Because I might be, I may,
Hooked up to Wi-Fi, and that's a big drawback.
okay.
We have no Wi-Fi on that.
Okay.
And we can,
I know of.
you
Frank,
there's a physical
it's on
cord
it,
with
but I don't know how.
Yeah, we can talk about that technology. I think what I could be helpful with is, as a librarian, I'm pretty good at creating categories and organizing data. So we can talk about getting all these, if we have things that are cataloged, what are the categories that we're using, and trying to make that
Yeah.
user-friendly.
Long list when I was
Yeah, making it as user.
in there for
Yeah.
whatever. It's
Yeah.
we had many genealogies, but they were all over the place. So I've
Yeah.
got them all in one place, and I'd like those online so that
Right.
people would know that they're there. The most recent project I just completed was the mailing list, because we mail Printfield comments 4 times a year.
Mhm.
And
When was the last one published? Do you know?
updated.
When was the last Crimfield comments published?
Well, it was supposed to be in March or
Yes,
April.
we did. Okay.
And it
So-
wasn't. It was around Christmas time.
Okay. So maybe our goal could be try to get one out by the fall if we could. If there has to be a lapse, try to get something done by the fall. And
Yes.
that might be an opportunity that I could be helpful to try to give it a little bit of a new look if we want to make a new look for the Crimfield comments.
Good. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I think what we really need to do is get everything online
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
we know. And
So who is it mailed to?
top priority for me would be it needs an inventory.
Right. Yeah. Of the contents. Who is the Crimfield comments mailed to now?
we've got dozens of people. I mean, there's plenty of people that it goes to in town, and I think
Yeah, I
at
know.
least 2 or 3 that are like out of country. Like,
Okay, because I know we get, I know we get copies at the library that are distributed, but I didn't know what the mailing list of who those people are. Are
The
they
list is quite long.
Okay.
Well, there's, I think,
subscribers? Are they paying for it, or is no?
for it.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I've actually got it right here.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if if there was a physical copy on the desk, but
Yeah.
if you have one, Margaret. then-
I actually just completed it.
Yeah.
It's
So it goes to anyone who
pages
asks?
long with what are there, 20 on a page?
I mean, that's an opportunity to save some money on the way too, because you could do an electronic newsletter and do a limited number of print ones for people that need print, but then do something electronic for the vast.
Very expensive. It's, I think, over $700 every
Yeah.
time.
Right. Yeah. So we
Just
could.
print it, and then we mail it.
Right.
But Dennis has said next time we do it that he could get some postage for us.
Right.
That it wouldn't have to come out of our budget.
Right. So that's a.
But it does need to be streamlined.
Right.
But this list is streamlined.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It could probably be streamlined even more.
So Dennis, I have another question. As far as budget, I guess that's something we should get a look at some point, because I have no idea what the budget stuff is.
Yeah.
So at some point we should, the board should know what that is.
it covers very little.
Yeah.
There haven't been a lot of requests. I mean,
Okay,
it covers
yeah.
comments and very little expense beyond that. So as you assume, your roles in the commission, there may be things that you recognize you need, and we can certainly help support that.
So the building maintenance and electricity, that's all just paid out of another department?
Correct.
Okay, so that's not it. That's not in the budget itself. Okay, yeah, okay. Yes, getting a handle on all that is kind of a,
Yeah, that's the reason, one of the reasons I when I first approached Dennis, I wanted to get a Facebook page for the Bellingham Historical Commission so that people wouldn't have to feel like they had to come to the museum. They can come if they want to come, but have another resource where they can post pictures that they have. Like if we have a family that used to be town residents that are living out in Arizona, and they have pictures of Bellingham from back in the 1920s or 30s, and they want to post, they'll be able to post it on the page.
Heck, even the 70s is 50 years ago now.
Yeah, I know, huh? God, 70, 50 years ago. But
Right.
yeah,
I just want to interject something there because we also don't have a mission statement, and we do need that because there's a disagreement, I think, there. That, in the past, the commission did not want to really go public with these, with technology. The mission was to get people to visit the museum itself. So I think one of our, not mine, one of the main purposes has to be that you do set a mission statement and a goal.
And the other question I had was if we had there were any bylaws, and Dennis didn't seem to think there were bylaws, because that's just another thing that is always good for a board to have.
Right.
So drafting what those are, and a lot of this you can look at what other organizations do,
Right.
and you take theirs, and no sense in reinventing the wheel. You find out what they did and you adapt them
Things
to
would
it.
be very simple. I mean,
Yeah,
we
right.
do that.
And I think that probably is our first work, is if we're going to talk about reinvigorating, to get this structure set up so we have something to move forward on.
Yeah, as long as your committee is all willing to.
I think you agree on what if you're going to do these things, you agree on what the mission is. So you have, you come together and say, these are the options. What do we want to include? What don't we want to include?
Yeah.
And come to a.
That's top priority.
Yeah. Yes, I could see that being.
But all the commission members know our goal, what we're striving toward.
So
that's
why would it be considered a good to attract people to the physical museum? Like, why was that considered a good thing?
Why is that considered a good thing? We've always had open hours, like we're open on Tuesdays from 1 to 4, and we're open the first Sunday of every month. Because many people in town don't even know about the museum. And so we were trying to attract them by having open hours, public hours when people could come in.
My experience with the Historical Society, I was developing a talk where I wanted to find out some information about Bellingham. So I tried to find a historical commission or a historical society. And this was, a year ago or so. And I wasn't able to find anything. I found a town linked website that had not been updated in a while. And I clicked through the email addresses and wasn't able to get anything. So I never did find out that there was a building. So I was thinking that if it is a good thing to have a building and have people go to it, and I do agree, it would be interesting to have a physical presence and artifacts on display. But if with an online presence, showing some of that stuff, it's not going to make people not want to come see it because they've already seen it. It's going to let people know it's there.
I think you could do teasers.
Exactly.
You can show them a little bit and say, if you want to see more, come to the physical building. You can do kind of that kind of stuff. If there's, look at this ABC thing, we have XYZ, and please come to the museum on these days and these hours to see it. So I think they can be complementary. You can have your physical presence that obviously you want people to see the things in person, but there are people that, like Rick was talking about, someone that lives in Arizona probably can't physically come here anymore, but if we can bring it to them, they still get to see the history.
Well, if
not only
they
that,
even knew who to contact, they might be willing to donate artifacts,
Right, yeah. Right.
And
and that's another thing.
It has been very lacking. I've got to agree with that.
And that's
I'm
another.
the only one that goes there that can
Yeah.
answer the telephone.
Yeah.
you know, because of the new system that was put in.
Mhm.
And, you know, there, well, let's just leave it there.
Yeah.
So if there's a
We need to
budget, I
go.
mean, I've set up a lot of nonprofit websites myself in the past,
Mhm.
and I can set up something here. I don't know if there's infrastructure at our disposal.
So the town has a website, and actually I have access to it. Karen, who's an IT person, actually gave me access to the Historical Commission's website now, so I could have access. I could create pages. I could create content for the website that we could link out from the Facebook page or other pages. Now, when I'll have time to do that right now with what's going on at the library, I've got a lot going on, so I don't know. But I think there is definitely potential there to develop that website. Or if we develop something off-site that we could link to on the town site, that could be a possibility too. You know, we could do a simple site on Wix or something else and then link to it from the town website.
Yeah, you guys are way over my head right now, so that's good. That's why I let you guys handle that part. But
I think having a Facebook presence is a very good beginning, because lots of people are there, and it can serve an initial purpose to get some content out to people.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of people that Bellingham is getting bigger every day, and there are people moving into town that would never even know we have a historical commission and a museum and whatnot. So it's almost like marketing. We market ourselves out there. We'll see a little bit more action.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing you can do that really works really well for the library is Facebook events. So you could just make an event that come to the museum on Thursday to see our collection of whatever, you know, and just if you mark it as an event, people respond to events, as opposed to just, you know, we're open on Thursday, you know, that doesn't tell you much, but come see our collection of whatever, and you highlight a collection.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the new normal is.
Yeah, whatever that, that's gonna be,
whatever the new normal is gonna be. But yeah.
Let me jump in here for just a minute.
Okay, Mark.
The Facebook thing is a good idea. However, we run the risk of falling in what the trap is that everybody else has. Not everybody is on Facebook. I am not on Facebook. I have no idea how to do it or get there. And there are a lot of people that in my boat who are not on Facebook. There are a lot of people in this town who don't have computers. Regardless of what we think about that, there are lots of people who don't have computers. So by depending solely on that, we run the risk of being, I don't want to use the word divisive because it's not divisive, but you have different groups of people, some who are there and are hip, if you will, and other people who have no clue. There are a lot of people who have no clue that we even have a website. Because, you know, I never watch.
That's where,
Dennis.
I think that's where we can
watch
Bellingham
the
Bulletin.
Bellingham channel on TV. Never.
I think that's.
And I get equally aggravated by the phone calls that come in about on what used to be the 911 emergency line that have absolutely nothing to do with emergencies. But that's another issue. So don't fall into the trap that everybody's going to see stuff on Facebook, because not everybody's got it.
I think what we can do.
It's okay that we get on Facebook, but we need to somehow get the crowd that's not on Facebook.
Bellingham Bulletin. The Bellingham Bulletin. That's our answer to that. Everybody in town gets a copy of that. You know, we could start writing articles for the bulletin that could be distributed.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I was also going to suggest putting it in the Crimpville comments if we can get that up and running too. Yeah, my thing wasn't to get rid of the Crimpville comments at all, but it was to do an online version that could help, you know, if we only have to mail it to X number of people that need to mail it. Absolutely. I understand that. Believe me. But
but I think the Bellingham Bulletin is a treasure in town, because it really gives us the ability to get out the messages for town things. So, you know, we could definitely promote everything.
I agree with that. I enjoy reading that paper.
That's
So we could have our own little section of the Bellingham Bulletin.
If we could write a monthly column for the bulletin and Pam would publish it. Absolutely.
Yep. So yeah, so we got a ton of stuff to think about, you know, and it sounds overwhelming at first, but I think if we handle everything a little at a time, we can start, you know, like you were saying, we could start with the mission statement, you know, in other words, we just reorganized and then we find out where we want to go from here. What's the first thing we should be doing? Then we can go to the second, the third. Otherwise, I know myself, if I put too many things on my plate, nothing gets done, you know? So if we do one at a time, we'll get there. We'll get there.
That's where setting an agenda each month is this, you know, so this month, you know, maybe we try to work on drafting a mission statement that we can bring back to the next meeting that is voted by the members, you know, that by the commissioners, and just pick, you're right, you pick one or two things to tackle each month, and that moves you forward.
And I'll have to get a cheat sheet from Dennis maybe on how to, what's the Robert's Rule of Order, or whatever they call it, the what's the agenda for a meeting? What do you do first? What do you do second? Was it new business, old business?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I'm the secretary, so you and I can coordinate to make the agenda because I'll have to distribute the agenda.
Awesome.
So we'll kind of we'll coordinate to set the agendas to get that done.
Okay, because I want to, if I'm going to chair a meeting, I want to at least look somewhat intelligent.
I have another thought. I think I've been thinking about this for a long time. I don't know if it's ever been done, but we need to contact historical committees in other towns and pick their brains because maybe they're doing some stuff that would work in Bellingham. And I can think of two. Well, Medway has a commission. I don't know about Franklin.
Franklin has a commission, as far as I know.
Milford, but yeah, somehow or other we can look up and find out what towns have historical commissions and try to talk to them.
Actually, I know Franklin has a commission, and I know they have a museum too. Which
they do. Yeah,
I've seen.
Yeah, Mary Olson is in charge of that.
Yeah, Franklin has a commission and also has a museum.
Is there a statewide?
Isn't there a mass historical society?
Right. Well,
yes.
Yeah. But is there an associate, like a state agency that oversees historical commissions that you can turn to for? Because I've seen stuff about grants. That's one of my big things, is to try to find out what money is out there that we could try to apply for grants to. Once we identify projects that we want to get done, find who has the money and try to get the money. That's
always follow the money.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at with the talking to the other people is, let's not invent a wheel that they've already gone through.
Right.
Exactly.
And if they've got wheels spinning, then maybe we can grab some info and do our own wheels.
So related,
not invent them.
So related to what you were saying earlier about the Franklin Historic Society and also their building and museum, they leverage foot traffic in and out of the building as a way to propose events that they get grants for. So I've given talks over there, and they try to pay stipends for special speakers to come in, and that's funded through grants. And a lot of the grant writing hinges on foot traffic. So that's why I asked the question earlier, like why. I didn't know if it was because you were trying to get grant money, or if there was a motivating factor there.
Dennis, would the commission be eligible for the Cultural Council grants? I would assume so. Oops, can't hear you. You're muted.
I always mute myself just in case I don't know what's going to happen behind barking dogs or whatever. Yeah. But, yes, so you would be eligible for Cultural Council grants, but I was just checking out the State Mass Historical Commission website, and there's actually the grants that go on throughout the year for different things. Yeah. So something to look at on their website as well.
Right. So, because the Cultural Council ones, you could plan things and then you apply. I think it's October 15th is their application date, I think is, and then you could fund events.
Yeah, they actually have different deadlines throughout the year.
Oh, do they? Okay.
definitely check that, and you can apply for them. And it's like you know what it's like. It's like a 2-page application, very simple, $500-600 to have an event. Yeah.
They're actually looking, or they were before the whole COVID thing, for applications related to the Rev 250 event that they're planning. So they have a whole subcommittee that's planning the 250th, which is of course an 8-year run, right? Starting in whatever.
The 250th of what? Of the country?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So it starts with the 250th of Lexington and Concord, and then it's 8 years throughout the whole, the Revolutionary War. So there's a committee. It's Rev 250. I think their website's rev250.com, but they're a subcommittee of Mass Historical, and they were looking for proposals. So, and I know we have a little bit of interesting Rev War history here.
Yeah.
We do. That would be great to recognize some of that.
I think we know. Oh, excuse me, Dennis.
Nope. Go ahead, Margaret.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear what you said. Do you want to finish?
No, I was just going to say, to Steve's point, we do have some good history here, Revolutionary War history. It would be great to Deborah Sampson and some of the other things that we have. But
we have a lot about it. I just want to, when you're talking about budget and grants, I think that is the only way that a commission can get money. Steve mentioned something about Franklin gets it from their foot traffic, but we don't do that because it's a commission and we have a town budget. We're not allowed to raise money in any way. So we don't charge for the Crinfield comments. We don't ask for donations at the door or anything like that.
Could the commission have a wing of a nonprofit, like a friends group like the library has, that actually is a membership organization that could do some fundraising? Yeah, that's a
fundraising.
And that's a down the road thing, but that's something to keep in mind, that you have a you have a nonprofit that's affiliated. And I've actually done a couple of nonprofit applications for getting the IRS nonprofit status and all that. So but I think that's down the road. When we're really doing some good stuff, then we can start getting people to give us money to support. Yeah.
So I wasn't suggesting that we charge any entrance fee or anything like that. What they are doing is when they write a grant, they buttress their request for grant money by saying, look at all this foot traffic that we have. They're just recording the numbers.
I see. Okay. Yeah. We do have a guest book, so we do keep track of the numbers. Yeah. But we just cannot.
If we remember to get them to sign.
I mean, that's a matter if it's a small number. You can just do tick marks when people walk in the door, and that can give you the real number. Their real number too. Yeah.
So Bernadette, are you going to be sending out minutes from this meeting since you're the secretary?
Yes. Yeah, I started taking them at the beginning so I will. I'll kind of just I'm just writing down the concepts that we're coming up with, the things that we're discussing, and then we can kind of go through that and figure out what the next steps are. But I think Margaret's right that we need the mission statement is probably the first thing we ought to work on, as what is our, and I think that is it. You're absolutely right. Look at what other historical commissions have as their missions and pull out what, adapt it to what we think is what we want to do.
I would like to see you develop it from your own ideas. What do you want the commission to be before you actually?
That might be a good idea to actually do. What are we thinking, and then look at what other people have done after. Yeah. Yeah.
So do you have everybody's contact information? Would that be in this particular set of minutes? Because I don't really have.
Rick has everybody. So some of the people don't have emails. But Rick has everybody's phone number. So maybe that's an email you could send out to, maybe, and then maybe
you scan it and
email it. And then maybe the people that don't have email, you ought to drop a note in the mail with all of our contact information to them. Get them a copy of the list of the members, so they have the phone number, everyone's phone numbers.
Yeah.
And I don't know if what phone numbers I gave you, so I'll probably want my work number on there too. Whatever. Okay. So why don't you send the list out to those of us who have email to verify that our stuff is correct?
Yep,
Okay.
I can do that. I've got one here that's
Yeah.
mostly bare. I just put associate member for Carlton Patrick,
Yeah.
and I can cross out Marcia Crooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think another thing we should settle tonight too is where we're gonna meet and what day we're gonna meet and what time. I don't know, the commission used to meet, I think, in the museum, but maybe we have a better room in the library. I don't know.
The library could host it. It might, but I think it might be good for at least the first one to be at the museum, so we can all get.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
if we can do
since
it
I've
there.
been on the commission, it's been Mondays at the museum,
Okay.
at like 6 to 7
Okay.
or whenever.
I can't do the first Monday because I have a Friends of the Library meeting on the first Monday of the month, but any other Monday I can do. So we can decide amongst ourselves what works best.
I mean, we can figure out what we can do, what works for everybody. 'Cause we had switched to Saturdays not too long ago, but between people work schedules and just
I'd rather a weekday evening, honestly. If we're going to do an evening, I'd rather do a weekday. And 6 o'clock would be great if that works for everybody.
Yeah, and second or third Monday works for me. I also have a conflict on the first Monday.
Okay, so the second Monday works. Second, any other than the first. So the second or third is fine with me. Rick, is there any?
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion to meet on the second Monday of every month?
I'll make a motion to meet on the second Monday of every month.
And I'll second that.
At 6 o'clock?
At 6 p.m.
At the museum?
Yeah. Let's finish it. And we could change the location if we need to. The only thing about Mondays is there are Monday holidays, so then we have to decide what to do on those if the Monday holiday falls on, on the second Monday. And maybe we move it to the third one that week or whatever. We figure out what to do if it falls on a holiday. And that we'll know the month before, so we can set the next meeting date. We set the next meeting date. We'll say next week it's on a Monday. That's a holiday. Let's pick a different day.
So the motion is we'll meet on the second Monday of the month at 6 p.m. at the museum, and the motion was made and seconded.
That's okay. Rick, Steve made the motion. Who seconded it?
I did.
Franco.
Okay. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Okay.
I point out also that we should remember, Margaret and Franco will both remember, that during the summertime we didn't meet at all.
Okay.
Because
that was a thing.
We never met.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, whether we continue that or not.
During the summer, we live in West Howard. So.
Yeah.
I mean, part of that was because the AC wasn't great in the museum, so.
Yeah. I mean, if we wanted to do it, if it isn't work, then we could do them in the library if the library is open and operate. But we could do them like this. We could do them virtually until things iron out too. If things aren't working out, it's working.
I'd also point out, if everybody can remember, there's a history room in the library.
Yep, there is.
Yeah.
It might not be large enough. I've been in it, but I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, so
there's a long table that would hold the members of the committee.
Right. Absolutely. That's actually so. Just so you know, that is we have a meeting room now. We actually swapped the two rooms. The history room is where the meeting room was, and it's back. But we do have a meeting room with a table that can seat 7 or 8 people. And then the history room is right next to it. And we renovated the history room, and it's beautiful. It's a nice.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it's the room I was thinking of, it might be a bit cramped.
Yeah, the history room is small. That has a table that seats 4 and 2 lounge chairs, so that'll only be 6 people. That's small. But the conference room, it's a conference room. It has a television in it. That we can get 7 to 10 people around the table if it's closed. 7 would be easy. 7 or 8 is easy. So. We can talk about that too. And then we also have the community room, which is huge. So if we needed a bigger room, I could book that out and we could use the library room too. So I think we can just, from month to month, we can decide where the meeting needs to be.
Now, I'd like to just ask you, I know Bob brought up the fact that you take the summers off, but since we're in May and we just started, are anybody in favor of maybe just having one in June and then take July and August off, so we can get a few more things settled, and then
Yeah, I mean-
then go from there. Is June 8th? It would be June 8th. Is anybody?
I don't have a problem with that.
That's my birthday.
It's your birthday? You can have cake.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't
I
mind.
like chocolate cake.
Yeah, Bob likes chocolate cake, he says.
I don't mind. I don't mind. I can. It's not a big round number, so I can meet on my birthday.
I mean,
Okay. So we'll set it for Monday, June 8th at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we can meet at the museum. I guess
Right.
that's still up in the air.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
We may be Zooming it again.
yeah.
Yeah.
As for summer
Really,
meetings,
we
I
will be.
can go either way on that.
Yeah.
Like I could, doesn't really matter whether if we
Yeah.
do or not
Yeah.
for me.
Mhm.
So
So
I
Bernadette,
don't know about you guys.
Yes.
sorry, this is on a previous topic. I
Mhm.
should have tried to hang on to that before I let it go. But on the website, you said you have access. Any
Yeah.
chance you would share access with me?
I can't do that. The town would have to approve that. It's not at my website. It's the town's website. So I'm the library director, so I have access to the town website. So they opened up those pages to me. So I don't know that would be permission would be needed to do that. So I guess we can discuss that. I'm not sure what that would be.
That would be a question for Dennis.
Yeah.
If that's something that
Yeah.
has to go.
Yeah, we have very limited access as I think the IT director and Bernadette. So we really don't open that up. I can talk to Karen and find out if there's a way that we can get you to the historical page that way. But obviously the town website.
Yeah. But I think you can give limited access to just one thing, but it would have to be approved, obviously. So we have to. But yeah, we can look at that. I'm sure we can ask.
I can talk to Karen and see what we can do.
It's a pretty WYSIWYG, easy to use website. Easy to use, make your own thing. So.
For future reference, I seem to remember having a conversation with young Mr. Joannis there. He's younger than I am, if I can call him that. And that he does a lot of traveling during the week, and that Saturdays was a good deal because he was in town. So maybe there should be some consideration about Saturday meetings rather than a weekly meeting during the week, working week.
Do you hear that, Steve?
No, sorry, my son walked in and talking
No.
to me here.
Bob was concerned that you travel during the week and that maybe the weekend would be better for you. But you had mentioned that second Mondays are good for you.
Yeah, the second Monday is probably the best for me. I do travel a lot, but a lot of my travel will go over weekends and stuff. Mondays are usually pretty good.
Mondays are usually good for him, Bob.
Okay, that's cool.
I appreciate the consideration. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, I just remember the conversation we had, and I said, wait a minute, he's so savvy. So good. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Now, is there anything else that anybody want to bring up tonight? Or
I just want to make one announcement. The Bellingham Now and Then book that the library was written with the grant that we received, I should be getting print copies in my hand on Friday. So we will start doing promotion to get people to purchase those either online or send the check to the Friends of the Library. And we're going to work on how to distribute. When they come in, I guess we're going to be driving around because people are supposed to pick them up at the library, and that's not feasible right now. So we'll probably be distributing them. But I'll make sure the museum gets a copy. And I actually I'm going to ask the Friends of the Library to donate a copy for the commission to give to Marcia as a thank you.
Oh, that would be nice.
that's a good thing that just came to my mind. Does the Margaret might know, does the Historical Commission have stationery?
Yes, we do.
Okay, because I'd like to see us write something up nice to give to Marcia also
Yeah.
Yeah.
from
So
the
if you can write
Historical Commission.
if you can write a nice letter, I can get it in the book and we can drop it in the mail, and then that's
I was gonna say if we can get it all at once, that'd be great.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can coordinate that with Rick. Getting you a copy of the book and then getting it out. Yeah. I think Dennis needs to find out where the address, I guess, that we'll be sending it. But
Well, I've got her address here too. Well,
Yeah,
her home
we're not,
address.
yeah, we're not sure she's there. That's the question.
Yeah.
I don't think she's
The
there.
best way.
No.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
want to send her something
Yeah.
right now, it should be sent to Lake Street.
okay,
Because
Okay.
that mail is being forwarded to her sister.
okay, okay,
And
good,
she's in the
okay,
transition stage right now.
Okay.
So I'm not quite
Okay.
sure where else we could send it.
okay. So if we can get a copy of get our hands on the letterhead, you can write the letter, Rick, and then we can, and I'll get the book to you
Yeah.
sometime next. I probably won't have them in my hand till next week. It's supposed to be delivered on Friday, so we can coordinate a time next week that I can get one to you, and then we can take
Sounds
it from
good.
there.
We can, yeah. I can figure out how to get the letterhead on my computer so I can send it to print. You know, this is going to be a learning curve. So all you going to have to be patient with me on that.
That's fine.
But while I'm still thinking of it, Bernadette, you said you had access to the historical commission's page
Yeah.
on the town website.
Mm-hmm.
Will you be making the adjustments?
I think, well, I think we should go in and update the members, you know,
Yep.
the members, obviously. And then what I will probably do is just start posting the meeting minute. I can't post these till next time because we have to approve the minutes, but after we approve these minutes at the next meeting, we can post the meeting minutes right on the website where people will have access. So there's transparency for what
Yeah.
the meeting's about, been all about. So,
Because I knew
and I can do that, yeah.
that was in the back of my head was
Yeah.
who do we have to go to change
Yeah, I can
the
do that.
historical
So,
commission's
and I
lineup?
think when the layout is the first person, so as the chair, it would link to your email. So we'll get, and I'll coordinate with you on that. So if anyone does send an email to the commission, it would go to you.
Okay, that's way tech savvy. That's why I rely on you guys, you know, for that.
So we'll figure that
So-
out.
I have one final thought, and it sounds like we're closing down here, but is Dennis still there?
Yep.
Dennis, do I understand from the earlier on conversation this evening that there's one vacant seat left on the commission?
We'll have to get back to you on that as to whether there is or isn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Rick, before we
Okay.
sign off, would you like to meet me up at the museum so I can give you a key and
Yes, anytime. Like I said, I'm retired and I got every day off and nothing to do. So
So the I don't know if you guys.
quarantined.
Yeah. So the email that was invitation to this meeting has everybody's emails in it. So Margaret, you could get Rick's email from the email.
I've got Margaret's email
Okay,
too.
Okay. Good. Okay.
I was added to my list, so
Okay.
I've got her. So
Okay.
I'll send you an email, Margaret, and we can arrange the time.
Okay, that's fine. Tomorrow's not
When you have,
the only day I'm busy is tomorrow.
Is tomorrow?
But I'm busy with Zoom meetings most of the day. I could do it on Friday if you want to do it quickly, or email me and we can make a time next week.
Yeah, we'll pick a sunny day. I guess Friday it's supposed to rain like crazy. So.
Okay, that's fine. The other
So-
thing I wanted to ask is during this transition phase, like on June 8th, would anybody have an objection to my attending that meeting?
Not at all.
No, absolutely not.
All right.
Would love to have
I'll
you.
make up my mind before then what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Are you going to bring cookies?
I always have
Bob-
cookies at our meetings, coffee and cookies.
Yeah, Bob wants to know if there's cookies. Yeah.
She frequently
Each
brought
one
them.
of each one.
well, we'll also have to check if the coffee machine still works.
Yeah.
It
We
does.
have one in there.
Hmm.
We have a coffee machine.
Okay. So does anybody have anything else they want to bring up tonight? No? Well, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Bernadette, second
Seconded.
by Frank, Franco, and
Whatever.
yeah. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed. It's unanimous.
Good night,
Thank you,
all.
Dennis.
Good night. Thank you,
Have a good
everybody.
night.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
thank you for contacting me, Dennis.
Yeah.
Take
Thanks.
care.
Hopefully we'll see you all in person.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice to see you all.